go into a marriage with the wrong reasons or the wrong motivation or whatever, it doesn't mean that, hey, no problem, just get a divorce. No, it is a problem, but it's a question of not whether it's of just right and wrong. It's a question of condemnation or liberation. And that is that if your marriage ends and you get a divorce, even though that's not God's design, that was not God's plan, that is not God's purpose, the marriage, like the Sabbath, was given to be a blessing. If that marriage becomes a curse or no longer serves God's purpose, how is that his will or his intention? How does it serve his will? How does it serve his intention? And the answer is it doesn't. And yet many people stay stuck in a dead marriage, in a non-relationship, living in the same house, fighting, not talking, suppressing, acting out in other ways to sedate and deal with their loneliness, sexual promiscuity, other kind of turning to porn, all kinds of things come out of that. How does that serve God's purposes? And the answer is it doesn't. And yet many people stay stuck in that, believing that marriage means you just got to stay and stick it out no matter what, because scripture says till death do us part. But wait a second, scripture doesn't actually say that. Doesn't actually say, nowhere in scripture does it say till death do us part. That is a man-made scripture. And my friend, it is only one part of the vow. And the ironies is a person in a marriage can break all the vows, but as long as they stay in the marriage, it's like, okay, well, they're married and they can put on a good show and you can still go to church and you can still be accepted and just live a lie and people think it's okay. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's not okay, because scripture says God looks at the heart and God knows what is really going on in your house. He knows what is really going on in your relationship, and he knows when a marriage is dead. Now, does that mean he wants you to get a divorce? Not necessarily. He would much rather you reconcile it and fix it. But sometimes that's not going to happen. Why? Because one or both parties are not willing to do the work to make it happen. And whenever you have a marriage where one or both of the parties are simply not willing to do the work to bring that marriage back to life, it is dead. It is not recoverable. It is not a marriage. Oh, legally it's a marriage, but it's not holy matrimony. That is for sure. So here's the problem. And I'm going to talk about four things that create this whole problem and this whole frame that we've got to look at of like, so what do we do when a marriage dies? Well, here's the problem. Number one, the problem is we mess it up. Problem is we mess it up and the marriage dies. Everything that made it holy is gone. And it's not salvageable because either one of you or both of you are not able or willing to do what is required to make the marriage healthy again, to make it a live relationship. And so the second problem is we live a lie by staying in a dead marriage. And we may do it for the kids or for the appearances, or we may do it to avoid being judged by the church or our families or our community, or to avoid just this feeling of guilt, like I am judged because I got a divorce. And so the third problem is that we become trapped, whether we divorce or not, we become trapped in the guilt and the judgment of others, making it nearly impossible for us to heal and go on and truly live abundant and fulfilling lives, really serving God's purpose in this world. Or the fourth problem is we divorce and remarry, and we just repeat the same pattern over and over again. We divorce, we remarry, and we get divorced again. Why do you say that? Because around 80% of second marriages and third marriages and fourth marriages, guess what? 80% of the time or more, those are going to end in divorce, which means we don't learn from our mistakes. And even if we do divorce and remarry, and we're like, well, I'm going to get it right this time, and I'm going to change, and it's going to work out, and stuff, it doesn't work out. If you enjoyed this video and want to watch another one, you can click right here. If you want to see the entire podcast, click right here.